Hello, good morning, and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation. Guys, this is your morning video. I've got to say, I don't know what the right word is. Proud of the boys last night, proud of the effort. We're going to obviously unpick that a little bit in this video, but gutted at the same time, absolutely gutted. I think a defeat we didn't deserve. I don't think we deserved to win that. So to lose that game last night, I really genuinely don't. I don't think that it was a fair result. You look at the statistics, you look at the eye test on it, and I genuinely feel it wasn't a fair result. I've got to start though by saying, if you were one of the fans down there, and there were thousands of fans down there for that game at Old Trafford last night, Rangers fans, you were absolutely magnificent, absolutely magnificent. You outsang Old Trafford. You were amazing. And I've got to say, Manchester United fans, you are pathetic. You are some of the worst fans in England. I mean, you only sing when you're winning. Your atmosphere was crap. It was genuinely dreadful. I mean, genuinely dreadful. I suppose tired after their trip up from London, I guess, and obviously their trip across from Ireland to support the team, because as we know, Manchester is blue. But look, I think, last night, genuinely devastated that we didn't win. We didn't get at least a point from the game. We deserved a point from the game. We genuinely deserved a point from that game. I mean, you look at the team, which is now scrolling on the bottom of the screen, that we named for that game last night, and I think, on reflection, that's probably the strongest lineup we could have named. Butland in goal. I mean, look, we'll talk about Jack Butland in a moment, but Butland was always going to come back in once he was fit. He's the number one. Clement's kind of made it clear that he's the number one, and like with any sort of situation, Arsenal last year with Aaron Ramsdale played when Raya wasn't fully fit. Raya comes back, goes straight back into the lineup this season. Kareem Kelleher plays for Liverpool, plays really well for Liverpool. But Alisson, the moment he's fit, comes straight back into the lineup. It's kind of what happens and what's to be expected. The back four last night was again the strongest we could have expected. Tavernier, Proper, and Balogun, and Yefte. Again, like I said, it wasn't, I think with Sterling out, with Suter out, with Nsiala not available, there's nothing else the manager can do. Barron and Raskin in front of the back four again. I think with the situation of obviously no Dio because he's suspended and no Hadji from the European squad, then that's what you have to go with. Ridvan left, Cheney right, and Bayrami in the 10 role again. With Cortez out injured, with the Hadji situation, with Danilo obviously not available, that's what you've got to go with. And Hamza obviously up top because Hamza's been fantastic in the Europa League. So that is the strongest lineup we could have picked. Overall, I thought we played well. We tried hard. We worked hard. We had. I mean, if you look at the statistics, just look at the stats for a minute. Obviously, the main stat is that one there, that Manchester United win this game 2-1. Jack Butland own goal and an almost Fergie time-esque goal. How many games can you remember Manchester United winning under Fergie when, it would go into the 92nd, 93rd minute and they would score a goal? I've got to say, when Cyril Dessers scored in the 88th minute, I genuinely thought that was it. It was going to be a draw. And was probably gutted at that point we weren't going to win the game, but for that ridiculous own goal, we would have gone to win the game from that point. In terms of the stats from the game, we had as many shots on target. We had more shots on target, than they did. We had 7 to their 6. Shots, they had 16 to our 11. Possession, yes, they dominated the possession, but that was always to be expected. They've got a lot of very good ball-playing players, the likes of Bruno Fernandes, the likes of Christian Eriksen, the likes of Amad Diallo. So that was always going to happen. Yes, they outpassed us 2-1. Their pass accuracy. Now, this is the biggest thing for me, I thought. One of the criticism I do have of Rangers last night was the passing from a number of the players last night was absolutely dreadful. It was really, really sloppy. Genuinely very, very sloppy indeed. We gave the ball away in key areas. We let the ball go at the wrong time. We made some of the really bad decisions with passes, and some of the passes were just genuinely dreadful. Passes overhit, underhit, etc., etc. So I thought that the retention of possession and the passing for the team last night was genuinely shockingly bad. It was sloppy at times, I think, and it cost us. And to be fair, the two goals we conceded last night were both of our own making. I mean, obviously the first one, the Jack Butland own goal, and I want to talk about that in a moment, was just an absolute huge ricket. It was a ridiculously stupid goal to give away. I mean, why, and what Butland does when virtually unchallenged to manage to punch the ball into his own bloody net is beyond me. It really genuinely is. And the second goal, the winner from Bruno Fernandes, is, number one, we failed to close down the ball into the box, and perhaps even more unforgivably, Jefte completely switches off and lets his man run. I mean, you cannot afford to do that. It was almost Barisic-esque in the way he just turns off and allows the player to run in behind him to score the goal. It was unforgivable. I mean, it's absolutely shocking defending, so poor. I mean, Jefte is a young lad still learning the game, don't get me wrong. And I think, some of that, turning off and that non-concentration perhaps comes with that immaturity that he's got. But, totally on Jefte, that goal, partly on Jefte. I think 70% on him and 30% on us not shutting the ball into the box down. I've got to say, last night I thought, that Bailey Rice played really, really well last night when he came on. He looked composed. He used the ball well. He got stuck in. He tackled. He did very, very well indeed. He had the chance that fell to him. I think, if he gets his body over the ball, he makes a lot better fist of that. But, that will come in time, But Bailey, to me, looked really good and I think has earned the right to start further games. As in terms of the games, and I am going to talk about the Jack Butland thing in a moment, don't worry. I thought first half, James Tavernier was absolutely fucking dreadful, absolutely awful. I thought Garnacho absolutely roasted him time and time again, and could go past him at will. However, second half, I've got to give him some credit. I actually thought he played really well as a centre half. On a couple of things, he read the game very well. He got stuck in very well. He tackled. He wasn't singled up like he is at right back. Perhaps this is something that we need to look at. Moving James Tavernier to centre back may be an option going forward. The other thing as well is he was seemingly talking the young lads through the game as well, communicating quite well, really taking the captain's role seriously in that second half. And I thought he did very, very well at centre back. So, I thought whilst his first half performance was a 2 out of 10, his second half performance was more of a 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10. I thought he was very, very good. In the second half, much better at centre back than at right back. So, hey, watch this space, especially with all the injuries. As for Butland, Butland came straight back in. Now, I want to get one thing in perspective. I think to totally blame Jack Butland is very unfair. He pulled off some very, very good saves. I mean, there was the block from Ahmad in the first half. There was the one he turns off the line when he punches it round the thing. There was the diving save to the left. He pulls off 3 or 4 very good saves. So I think, to go all out on him and to absolutely throw him under the bus and absolutely slaughter him is a bit unfair, because without those saves, we do lose by more. Yes, that mistake was absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it was absolutely unquestionably stupid. I mean, he's unchallenged, and it's just a huge ricket. To punch the ball into your own net and score an own goal is just genuinely awful. I do think that the thing with Butland is this season that his confidence is shot. I think he is badly out of form. I think he is really suffering this season. I don't think he's looking like the goalkeeper that we signed last season. He is in a very bad vein of form. Now, the thing to say about Liam Kelly is obviously, he made that mistake in the Hibs game, but other than that, he's been very, very solid. And I think the defence actually looks a lot better with Liam Kelly behind them. They have a little bit more confidence in him than perhaps Butland at the moment. So, I think Liam Kelly was unlucky to be dropped in our lane. And I think, consideration going forward needs to be given to what role Liam Kelly plays and what role Jack Butland plays. I certainly think that Liam Kelly should get another opportunity very soon indeed, because I think, that mistake that Butland makes just really shows where he's at this moment in terms of his confidence, in terms of his form. And I think going forward, we can't afford to have a situation where our goalkeeper messes up, because look, it's those mistakes that, especially away from home, that are costing us when we make silly mistakes, and shoot ourselves in the foot, as we did twice last night against Manchester United. So I do think consideration needs to be given to restarting Liam Kelly. I mean, in terms of the team that was selected last night, I mean, like I said, I spoke about Butland, and I've spoken about Tav as well. Again, I thought Balogun was sort of solid as in the first half, and I do want to touch on the injury concerns to Tierney and to Balogun. I thought that Proper was okay, wasn't terrible, did well, read the game fairly well, made a few silly errors. I thought Hiefte was poor. I thought he was genuinely poor yesterday. I didn't think he played well at all. And obviously that goal obviously kind of does that. Raskin was excellent again, fought, battled, got stuck in, earned space, used the ball well. His recoveries were good. His tackling was good. I thought Raskin was pretty solid. Barron, to me, looked lost yesterday. He looked absolutely outclassed and lost. He was genuinely not good yesterday and obviously went off injured. Another injury. Cheney was good and then gets injured. Again, I'll touch on injuries in a moment. Bayrami, I thought, was absolutely appalling. The guy has the heart of a mouse. I mean, he didn't look interested. He looked off the pace. Everything was half-hearted. I mean, considering we spent nearly £4 million on him, and he came in with such a high reputation, I thought he was genuinely poor last night. One of the few players that I thought, was genuinely awful last night. Did not play well in the slightest. Ridvan, I thought, was poor. I thought he made a lot of mistakes. I thought his control was poor. I thought he got caught out of position a fair few times. So I thought Ridvan was fairly poor last night. I thought Hamza was excellent. Worked very hard, controlled the ball well, had a shot, had a couple of shots on target that was saved by India. Did well. So that starting lineup, I thought, yeah, there were some good performances. Don't get me wrong, but there were still some performances to criticise. Some very poor performances. My man of the match from last night. I mean, that's a difficult one. I'm going to go with Bailey Rice when he came on. I thought Bailey Rice was excellent, absolutely excellent. Considering he's only an 18-year-old lad, I thought he's running out at Old Trafford, playing 45 minutes. I think that's a good. He played well for me, very, very well. Raskin also, I think, was up there. Balogun first half was up there. A few pit players, obviously, that stood out for me. Look, I think the big thing that comes out of this game last night again is more injuries. Yet more injuries. The injuries obviously to Cheney, to Balogun, and to Barron. Now, look, I don't know the extent of the injuries. I don't know where we're up to with these injuries, but the Cheney injury looked like a hamstring. Now, if it is a hamstring, we're looking at a substantial amount of time on the sidelines, which, considering the fact that obviously Cortez is out injured, and McCausland is a decent, not great player, it really leaves us short in the wide positions. It really does leave us in a situation where we're going to be struggling to find wingers because, adding to that, I mean, obviously Lovelace can play out wide. We know that, but, Sterling's still injured as well. The injury situation at Rangers at the moment is beyond a joke. It really is. Suter is out, Sterling's out. We're missing so many players. It's just crazy. It's crazy. And considering Clement, when he came in, talked about improving the fitness and improving the availability of players, it seems to have gone backwards rather than forwards. Barron obviously out injured as well. Not sure to the extent that. Now, Big Leon goes down injured. Now, look, I'm a massive fan of Big Leon. I love Big Leon. But his injuries are getting more and more now. He's missing so much time now, and it's a massive concern. Again, going into the game on Sunday, which for me is more of a worry than last night. Big Leon's probably going to be out, so that's another injury and that's another time out, and it's a worry now that the wear and tear on him, really does seem to be hitting home, and it does seem to be having a major impact on Leon, and that's a worry. That is a major worry. We go into the game on Sunday. Feasibly we could go into that game. With no Sterling, no, excuse me, no Balogun, no Cheney, no Barron, no Suter. So many missing players from the team. And I think, one thing you've got to kind of take credit for last night, in terms of performance, you look at that team that Rangers put out and how that team finished. And you've got, McCausland, Curtis, and obviously as well, excuse me, you've, Bailey Rice, you've got 18-year-old kids, 19, 20-year-old kids on the team. You've got Sterling missing, you've got Suter missing, you've got Cortez missing, Casanwejo missing, Diamonde suspended. How many? Danilo not available, Hadji not available. You've got 7 possible first teamers there not available. And Man United put out a pretty much close to full strength team last night. Perhaps the only change has been Agate would start, though he did come on. So all credit to the boys last night to doing what they did. But it leaves us going into the game at Tannadice, which is going to be a very tricky game, very short indeed. I would line up like this. I really would, because I think it's a case of last man standing. Who's got a pair of boots and who can run? who's fit. So I would put Liam Kelly back in goal. I think that mistake for Butland, he needs some time on the sideline. I really do. Tavernier, Proper, and Ciala and Ridvan. I think it's a toss-up between Ridvan and Hiefte. And Ciala, for me, has to come back in because Balogun's injured. Proper has to move to right side of central defence because there is no one else. And Tavernier's got to start at right back. Now, as bad as he is at right back and as awful as his defending is, the question I ask is, who else is there? Now, Devine clearly isn't part of the plan. And, obviously Sterling's still injured. So, who else is there? Rice and Raskin, I would go with in front of the back four. Hadji, Hamza, and Curtis behind Dessers. I mean, full credit to Cyril Dessers. I've been his biggest critic, but that finish last night was absolutely brilliant. A fantastic finish by the boy. Really, really good. I'd give him the start, but Hamza in the 10 role because it looks like Danilo is going to be out, obviously, and then go with Hadji, Hamza, and Curtis behind. Because I'll be honest with you, going into that Dundee United game, it's a bit of a case of last man standing in terms of team selection. It really is. Clement might surprise us, or someone might be fit. I don't know, but we're in a position where we're kind of beggars can't be choosers, and we've got to start to include, players who perhaps wouldn't have been getting a start at the start of the season. That's where we're up to at the moment. I really think that obviously Dio could come back in as well. I think, it's more like the Dio comes in, plays alongside Raskin on Sunday. I don't think that Rice would start. That's probably what Clement would do. But look, Hadji's got to come back in. He's been one of our better players. But where do you go? With all these injuries, with no Cheney, no Cortez. I wouldn't start Bayrami. I'd put him on the bench. I thought he was shocking last night. Really shocking. Guys, let me know your starting 11s for Sunday. Let me know your reflections on last night's game. And let me know your reflections on what we've covered in this video this morning or this afternoon or this evening. Depends when you've watched it. Thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation, guys. On the way out, please smash the like, sub, comment and share and do all that great stuff whilst remembering we are the people.